And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the latest episode 150, as a matter of fact, of the Sling'N podcast. I am TJ.
And I have forgotten how to read my cue cards. I believe my name is Kent. Am I Kent?
Yes, you
the
are.
The other guy is not me, so I must be Kent. Hi, everybody.
That's right. That's right. Dude, I'm glad to get back to this with you, man. It's been, do you realize it's been 8 months?
It hasn't. It's just been 8 months for you.
Yeah, probably true.
Remember?
I'm a horrible friend. Nothing has changed. I'm a horrible human being.
It's just me talking to Tim Herron about like nothing for 3 hours. Otherwise,
so you replaced me with a lesser me.
So, not for nothing, the short guys do real well on this show.
It's a fair statement. It's a fair statement. The tactical corgi. I'm just kidding, Timmy. You know I love you, buddy. I'm also terrified of you. Please don't hurt my kneecaps. Anyway, we are joined tonight by Sean Martin of OnSight Firearms Training, based out of New York. Sean, welcome to the podcast. You're in the hot seat tonight. Really looking forward to the conversation. And with that, as is customary on the podcast here, for all of our new guests and for even those that return, I love asking this question. Why don't you do us a favor, introduce yourself, and tell the folks at home who the hell are you?
Yes, you've found my one weakness, talking about myself. Okay, so I am Sean. I am one of the instructors with OnSight Firearms Training out of New York. Been with the company for about 2.5 years. So I'll start off real easy. I've never been a cop, never been in the military. I just about years and years ago, my father's a trooper, and he took me to the range one day. And like when I was, really young, put a little 38 in my hands, and I shot it a couple times, and I'm like, well, this is my personality now. So, and then, kind of always had a love for guns, shooting. And about 6 years ago, I was, just an internet nerd like everybody else. And I was, YouTube Ninja, Grand Thumb, and all the cool guys. And I found this one dude who was like, you need to get training. And I'm like, oh, where do I train with him? So my first commercial class like 7 years ago was fighting pistol with tactical response, and I'm like, oh, that was cool. Then I did medical, force on force, and after that I just got on Google and I'm like, who's cool, where can I travel, where can I train? So I just went all over the place: Oklahoma, Tennessee, New Hampshire, PA. I'm just traveling all over the place, shooting stuff. And one day I was like, well, this is fun, but it's getting expensive going everywhere just as a hobby. Looked on the internet, found somewhere local. This from this little logo. I'm like, oh, we went there, did a few classes. Turns out, not only do I really like this, I'm pretty good at it because now I work there. So I guess if you want like a more official resume, I got a bunch of instructor certs through Range Master, Master Instructor. I got my NRA, Scott Jadlinski's Red Dot Instructor, SIG low light instructor. I basically just filling up the resume with papers. I've trained with all the cool guys on the internet, and I guess I'll save some of the more accomplishments for a little later because I know Kent was there for a recent one. That'll be a good segue in.
There will be. We should just do that right now. You are black belt patch holder number
40.
40.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was really cool to see for sure.
Thank you.
I love watching somebody progress, because I get this like unique thing where I only see somebody like twice a year, maybe if I'm lucky, right? So you see a person and then you see them again, and you and I have been on the range together maybe 4 times total, I would say.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Right? Holy shit, brother. Somebody's been doing the work, right? Yeah. So like you accomplished quite the feat in the black belt patch, which is in and of itself really neat. But what it tells me is that you've stayed on a path for, call it 3 years or 2.5.
Yeah. Oh, right? No, believe me, I've been tracking it. It's 3 years.
Right. So would you say, and we'll digest. So we've had Jedi on here. Our audience ought to know what a black belt patch is by now, but we're going to ask what it is anyway.
Okay.
So I'll let you answer it, seeing as you have one and I don't.
I appreciate that. So yeah,
always a bridesmaid, never a bride, Kent.
Oh, please.
So the black belt patch is Scott Jedlinski's master test, his challenge, whatever you want to call it. But it's probably one of maybe the most highly revered one in the shooting culture. I can't think of one that's like more well known in the training culture. But
certainly over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
There are some other like going back ones, but today I'd say it's the pinnacle in terms of those patches. Or I can't think of one that's
a big deal for me. So cooler. Black belt patch, for those of you who don't know, is you have to go to a Scott Jedlinski class, and it's always the end of the day. I think if it's a 2-day class, he'll do it once at the end of each day.
Yep.
You get one shot at each run. Every run has to be clean and in time. So it's at the 3 yards, 3 to the chest, 2 to the head off the draw, sub 2 seconds. Everything has to be in a USPSA A zone and a 3x5 card. Go back to the 7. 1 out of the holster, sub 1, got to be in the A zone. Then from the 7, it's a bill drill, got to be sub 2, all in the A zone. And you go back to the 25, and then it's got to be 1 out of the holster, sub 1.5. Everything's got to be in. Everything's got to be in time. There's no like point deduction or anything. It's one run, got to be clean, got to be under time. If you screw it up, you're out. And I was able to pull it off last time you saw me.
Yeah, so like that's 100% accurate. Now I'm going to tell the story from my vantage point because you did not pull it off. You smoked it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. No, dude, you got to give a guy his flowers, man. Like you fucking absolutely tore it up out there.
Thanks.
So he said something. So I'll paint a scene from a different perspective.
Okay.
I'll paint the scene from like, there's 30 other fucking humans standing there, plus or minus. When he says one shot, it's not like, all right, Sean, in 10 minutes, you're going to do this once. It's, well, you're the guy on the line in this spot right now. So I'm going to walk to your spot on the line. I'm going to get the little yellow fucking mind eraser out. Are you ready? Stand by. Beat.
Yep.
Right? Like, no, oh, good luck, bro. Oh, chill. Oh, take a mulligan. Fucking.
No.
You have failed.
Yeah, that's how it is, bro.
And so a couple other environmentals and keynotes that I was just thinking on your behalf.
Okay.
I looked over and I went, this bitch fucking showed up cold. He hasn't been here all weekend, right? So he rolled in. If you're an alum, if you're a multi-time alum in an MSP class, you can. I'm going to call it celebrity shoot for the black belt patch.
Yes, that's a very accurate way to say it. Like like being that I know Scott, on a fairly good basis. I'll leave that up to him if it's wrong. But you can. I messaged him like I want to say 4 weeks ago, about a month ago. Like, hey man, saw you're in PA. Mind if I come out for another run at the patch? And he's like, sure, bro, come out. Like he was super cool about it. So yeah, if you not so much an alumni, but like you have to be a little bit known to him. Like you can't just show up one time and then a year later be like, hey, bro, can I like give it a shot? No, you got to be like, no, you got to be friends. Again, I'll leave it up to him, but I'm sure he would agree.
Right. Well, you've taken the class a couple times. You took the instructor class.
Yep. Taken 2 actually.
Heard. So you showed up for a celebrity shoot. The first thing you did showing up for a celebrity shoot was stand around and realize you're a gun trainer on range, and you offer to help us AI.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. What you didn't do was ask me if you could go down to range 1 and shoot by yourself for an hour before the black belt patch. So that didn't happen.
Yeah, right? So when you say cold, you absolutely mean cold.
Yeah, those were my.
I mean, he might have dry fired for 2 minutes.
Yeah, I did a little bit of dry practice while I was there.
Maybe.
That's still cold to me.
But you didn't. My point is, you showed up, and we're going to talk about instructor shit later.
Yeah.
So you showed up and were simultaneously both being value added to the group around you while wanting to make your own attempt at a thing. You then took a spot on the line, and because you hadn't had a spot on the line, you walked all the way left target number 1.
All the way over.
All the fucking way, which means, guess what? Like, hey, so now we're going to do the first rep. So here I am. My name's Sean. Where are the staple guns? What targets are we hanging? Are you ready to stand by? Beat. It's about right. Right. So that's about where we ended up with it. And you didn't do a 199.9. You did a 168.32?
The 3 and 2 was 168, yeah, from
Okay.
Appendix.
Right. So the first shit that comes out of your gun cold is PR level for me.
Thanks.
Okay. And it's PR level for me cold in front of humans you just met after showing up and after being value added and respectful and not like, because I've seen guys show up to want a celebrity shoot in different classes or whatever, and they're like, they don't even come talk to anybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like all in their own head and all like, oh, fucking like doing jumping jacks off to the side or something. Nope. Hi, I'm Sean. What's up?
Yeah.
Let's shoot.
So I found that because I've got so a little backstory to this. This has been a 3-year journey for me. Like when I trained with Scott a couple years ago, super cool dude. And I guess the big thing that really like got the bug that bit me was my first crack at the black belt patch. I threw 1 round and I was short of getting it. It was the I threw 1 round on the bill drill and everything else I made, and I got the 3/4 patch, and I was like, it's not enough. And then 3 years later, and now I'm here. But I found that like if you get there and you're like, oh, I got to do this. All right, I got to be, and you get all fucking like wound up, it's gonna kill you. Like that I have directly seen the results of that. So I want to get there, help with targets. That's a range karma thing for me. It's like, oh yeah, I'm the celebrity cool guy and I'm not gonna help. Like, no, bro. Like I know setting up targets is a pain in the ass. Let me jump in. Let me give you some hands. Let me be cool about it. Talk to a few people, but not be like arrogant. Like, oh hey, I'm this guy. Obviously, after the black belt patch was shot, I was shaking hands and kissing babies because that's how that works. But while I was there for those 4 hours, I want to help out, kind of just be part of the team, say hi to some guys, but just be chill about it. That was the biggest thing.
Yeah, I feel like you'd have a hard time having like a bad experience at one of Scott's classes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like he does. First of all, he's a great instructor. I love the guy to death.
He's a good dude, real good dude.
But he not only commands. He maintains a very strong command presence over the course, but he doesn't do it and it doesn't change the air of the class. It's still very chill, very laid back. Everyone's locked in, dialed in. Pleasant experience, but as laid back as it seems, at least for those of us that have been to classes and stuff before, right? He still maintains that level of professionalism and safety and conduct over the class. So,
as a matter of fact, alluding to that point. Last time I was in Lewisberry doing the Scott class, doing his class with me and one of our guys, Tom. I think it was day 1 or day, I don't remember which day, but it was in the middle of one of the days. There was something where it's like we have to shoot in a certain order and wait for a command. A lot of people were going early, and Scott had to like put on his dad voice for a minute to like stop whatever was going on. We were all kind of like, oh. But yeah, after that, fucking went right back, and it didn't like change the mood of the class after that.
Right.
No, I would say not. So, and then I'm going to give you one more small flower, and then I'm going to stop.
Okay, that's fine. No, you're good.
You're on the like Pornhub casting couch as it is, and you think
I like my couch.
I mean, it does kind of have that vibe.
Yeah, Kent, should we let him know there is no podcast?
Yeah, yeah. We probably shouldn't have told him that before he took his pants off. But anyway.
Yeah, hold on.
Hold on. We need to poo. So you've got 3 done. So now we're past the 3-2. We're past the bill drill. We're past the 1 shot. 25's coming up.
Yep.
And Jedi says nobody talk to Sean. Right. He puts out to the whole class. Don't go over. Don't say nothing. Don't try to help him. Don't pat him on the ass. No encouragement. Don't make a big thing of this. Right. And Scott, you're going to hear this. I love you. Like the whole time I'm thinking, well, good job, boss. You're making a big thing of it. Shut the fuck up.
It's it's real tough because up to that point, I was the only one who had cleaned the whole thing. So I was the only black belt patch shooter at that point. I remember. So it's funny of the things you remember. I remember very clearly the words he said. He's like, all right, after I shot the 178 bill drill or 173, shot the bill drill. He's like, good job, kid. He's like, all right, listen. He stopped because I was the first one in that relay. There were 29 other people that were going to shoot, and he's like, okay, nobody talk to him.
Yeah,
nobody look at him. There's nothing you can say to coach him. None of you have made it to this fucking point. your life is suspended until he's done. And I was like, well, if there wasn't any pressure on before.
Right. That was sort of my point. Like, I was sitting there listening to that, being like, number one, whatever I'm about to shoot don't mean shit. And number two, that poor bastard, like, he basically was like, go to the corner and stay there.
Yeah, and obviously it wasn't meant that way.
I know.
But,
I know.
But it's like he's like, he needs to do this, and I was like, thanks. Oh God. Fuck. So as soon as he was done, I kind of like nodded at him and I just walked off because I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do. I'm just gonna get to my spot and I'm gonna just get locked the fuck in for this last shot.
You know what you did? You full Blair Witch Project. You went to the corner of the fucking range and stood there facing into the corner like you did.
I did. That's right. I did.
Just like you'd been possessed by the fucking Maryland range devil.
I didn't even think of that, but you're right.
You were on timeout or some shit. Just go to your corner. And you walked over there, and of course he's telling us don't look at you, and the whole time I'm like, what's going on over there? Like, because I don't listen for shit. And the whole time I watched you, and I'm like, oh, he's got it. You had it. I saw you had it. Fucking, I was like, not phased. And I just kind of like went, this will be the second one we see on this range. Because we had like black belt number 9 happened.
Oh, really? Wow.
At Lewis. Yeah, I'm going to say 9. Early, like less than 12, I think. Guy's name is Mark Mandrell or Mandel or. Okay. He was the first year I hosted Scott. He got his black belt patch.
That's cool.
So I got to witness that. I immediately was like, he's got it in the bag. And you for sure did. And then, you could have easily like, I don't know, jumped in your car and pieced out or done a cartwheel or made it all about you or whatever. What happens next? Nothing. Sean goes right back to helping and being chill and being like nothing. Well, I mean, you say, yeah, but I've been at enough matches and seen a dude, lose or win or whatever. And I've seen like the best and worst come out of people. And like, I took an opportunity once before to reach out to Ben and be like, hey man, you guys represent you really well. Once again, like you represented so damn well.
Thank you, Ken.
Really, really cool to see. So that was sort of like a pinnacle moment and like sort of the impetus for me being like, this is going to be a thing for you where you're going to continue to succeed. And I have no doubts that you'll do whatever else you want to do. I can't imagine. So
yeah, I didn't want to don't get me wrong. I was excited and like I wanted to celebrate, but at the same time, I always have been concerned about being arrogant because cockiness breeds complacency. And as long as I'm doing good, I don't want to rest on my laurels and be like, yeah, I got the black belt patch and I did this. Like, no, it's like, okay, good. I got this. I want to do more. So I want to keep striving and like, I want to teach more people and keep doing stuff. This isn't the end. This isn't the finish line. This is a milestone in the path.
Most people would tell you that the day you get your black belt is the day that you really start learning.
Yeah.
So, so y'all don't know each other as well as you will someday. TJ is the jiu-jitsu component of this little.
Cool. Very cool.
So he's the Jew to my jitsu or whatever.
That's awesome.
I'm the whitest of white belts. I go to class about every 5 weeks, whether I should or not, because commitment.
I mean, at least you're still going, bro. Like
that's true. Yeah, you're still
going. Too busy doing 10,000 other things. I'm the guy who does 10 things when he's got time for 7, and I should really throw 3 away.
Yeah.
I think we're all kind of that person. So that's an absolute. A black belt patch is this guy can shoot. So I think we've covered that. You have some other accomplishments, notably a casino drill world record.
Yep, that is true. I am the world record holder of the casino. We call it the world because Range Master Tom Givens, he trains internationally. But yeah, ever since he created the drill in the, I want to say the 80s, I'm going to get chastised for getting this wrong, but it's
the
been the drill.
1880s.
Oh, God. Yeah, he invented the casino
dude,
drill.
we know Tom.
Oh,
it ain't wrong.
Yeah, he's been around. The joke is, he's been around the block. No, he built the block. He constructed the block.
Yeah, man's been shooting guns since Christ was a carpenter. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I hold the record in the casino drill.
I mean, the triangles are fucking 11 feet tall. I'm just saying. Big triangles. I couldn't shoot them that fast. I can't count, but like, it's fine. No, so that's my point being, my man could shoot. Let's talk about teaching. So for the last 3 years, you've been working at OFT.
Mm-hmm.
In what ways have you been contributing at OFT? Are you leading curriculum? Are you AIing? Are you teaching privates? Like what's your role in that organization? What are you doing?
All of that. I'm essentially, like, I don't want to say a fill-in piece because that sounds like I'm not part of it, but I am at the point now where I'm writing curriculum. Like, we recently, some of you guys may have seen it posted. I'm doing the pistol speed clinic. Go figure, I'd teach that. It's like we do 3 hour, or this one's actually 4 hour, not like a day class, but like an evening class. People working during the day, they want to get some training in. I wrote the curriculum for the pistol speed clinic about how to be faster on the draw, faster splits, all that kind of stuff. So I am doing that. I'm leading classes that already have pre-existing curriculum, doing plenty of private lessons, and AIing when we have larger classes. Yeah, I'm doing all that stuff.
I'm doing all that, and you've been with Ben for like the last 3 years.
Yep, coming up on 3 years. No, this fall it'll be 3 years.
Okay. So at what point in your journey, at what point as you're taking classes and as a student, what made you think, hey, maybe I'd like to teach? Did Ben hit you up and say, hey, I could use a guy like you? And like, I'm always interested in how I'd be happy to tell you my story, but on a show about me, this one's about you. So help me, like, with your transition. Like, how did you go from the student guy to the teacher guy?
So perfect. So obviously spending, 6 years of my life traveling, training, doing all the cool stuff, get local, do a few classes with OFT. Everybody sees, I can shoot pretty well. And as I'm like shooting a bunch, actually at this time, I'm also doing armored car work. So I'm carrying a gun for a living at the time, training, and I do a few classes. And I'm like, all right, I'm pretty good at this. So after, I want to say about a month of classes with them, I come up to them after a class at the end of the day. I'm like, hey guys, this is great. You wouldn't be happening to like you're not looking for like anybody else right now, are you? And initially Ben's like, no, not really. We're doing pretty good. I was like, yeah, no, because I was thinking I'd like to start doing this because I'm pretty good. I'd like to start working with people, and I don't know if you guys want. He's like, yeah, we're good. Just if you're gonna do that, that's cool. Just stay out of our territory. And I was like, okay. So I left that night. Ben's told this story on the Big Tex podcast, and actually on a couple podcasts where, everybody leaves. Rachel was there during that conversation, and Rachel calls Ben on the way home because I guess they were going different places. And he's like, hey, Rachel was telling Ben on the phone, hey, that Sean guy is pretty good. Ben's like, yeah. He was asking about teaching. I told him to stay out of our territory. She's like, well, you could do that. Or,
right.
Ben's like, slash his tires? Like, I don't know what you want me to do. Rachel says to him, or you could hire him. He's like, we got it handled. Why would I want to hire anybody else? And lo and behold, as time's gone on, things were expanding. And I think he texted me like a day or two later, or called me a day or two later. He's like, hey, you really interested in doing this? And we sat down what I would need to do. And I spent the better part of a year being like pretty much unpaid because it was like an internship because Ben has had other people working for the company come from, this organization, this police department. And it's like, they're very wishy-washy and like, oh yeah, I'll come teach. And like, so he wanted to know that I could really do this. And well, 2 years, almost 3 years later now, I'm like the prize pig of OFT where they bring me around and show me off and shit like that.
That's an accurate visual, actually.
Yeah, no, that's what it is. It's like, Ben's
Yeah.
been in the training culture for a while, where they've been around for a while, and like I'm the newer dude who showed it, but I do all the cool stuff. So, go to the farm show with the pig with the medal around its neck, and I'm like, I guess that's me now.
The pink shirt ain't helping your case here, Bubba.
I know. I through it. Whatever.
You know what's funny is in the chat, I would imagine that was Ben who just said pink pig.
Uh-huh.
So,
Probably.
yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Right. So first of all, note to self, find a prize pig. Got it. That's all good. So what would you say is like your teaching style? How do you reach somebody?
So I have a combination of serious subject matter with personality, I guess, because like people tend to forget that what we're teaching is a very serious thing. Like guns aren't like you can make it fun, but at the root of what it is, it's a very serious thing. So imparting a degree of seriousness, but also being able to like have a personality with people. And it's tough to like have one personality because, as you know, if you work with people are different. Like what one person might like, the certain words you would say with one person might not register, or like, great example, we get a lot of guys who are former Marines. Like we get guys who are firemen or whatever, and they're former Marines. Being that they're former Marines, the only way to reach them is to like be like nasty to them. And I don't like that, but if that's what the student needs, then all right, I'll get a little louder with you, whatever. But you can't do that to like the housewife who wants to come learn to protect her kids, because that's just going to scare her away from it. And so while, yes, I do have like a style, I try to tailor it to what a student needs as opposed to like what I want to do.
That's a great answer. I like it.
Kent, what do you respond best to?
What I respond best to is just absolute factual honesty. And like, hey, here's what you thought that was versus what that was. And here's how we're going to sort of bridge that gap, like whatever the gap might be. But that's me. And I also like humor is fucking huge for me.
Oh,
I
of
can't.
course.
Yeah. Like what a gigantic ginger from behind him and up range goes, fuck that, go faster.
Yeah.
He tends to go faster.
Yeah, you can get an extra 0.3 out of me if you holler at me about half. No, dude. Like, I sort of am very, very comfortable in my skill set to the point where I just kind of relax. And you know what? Like, if it's time to put on the pepper, like all you have to do is come over to me and go, yo, it's time to let's get a little spice in this.
Yeah,
bitch.
you gotta slap him in the face like he's about to do a personal record deadlift, right? Give him some smelling salts. Yeah, smack on the back of the shoulders.
No.
You got this, bro.
No, that helps me not at all, actually.
I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
Not in the slightest. So let's take a spotlight, move it away from you as an individual and move it towards the company a little bit.
Sure.
What OFT is On-Site Firearms Training.
That's right.
I imagine it's called that because they don't have a site. They're just on everyone else's site.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. Yeah.
Right. So you can't go anywhere between Virginia and Canada and Texas and some other spots, but like for sure Northeast, like if there's a usable, decent range, OFT is taught there.
We travel a lot, so I don't know how much
get around.
Yeah, I don't know how much remote training you've done, or you more like hang out at Westshore.
No, I do like 6 to 8 like remote classes a year. And then regionally in this South Central PA area, I do a lot at different places, but I don't like you guys get up to Maine and New York and Connecticut.
Yeah. Actually, we just started teaching in a place, Gray, Maine. We just started teaching up there. Ben was out last year with Steve Fisher in California. So we go everywhere, but for the most part, Northeast, kind of down the East Coast. We have some spots, Florida, Texas, but it's actually tougher than some people would think to like teach classes places, because there's either, I don't want to call it nepotism, but like guys like, oh yeah, this is our range and our training. We don't need somebody to come in. So they, even if it's a nice facility, they don't want to bring people in. But yeah, no, we stretch out pretty far. Trying to think of somewhere we don't go. I feel like maybe the Dakotas. I don't know if we haven't been to the Dakotas or not. I'm sure Ben or Rachel will correct me on that.
Yeah, it's funny because like Kent and I have like I believe we've actually done an episode or two on this whole thing, this whole concept about like what goes into actually hosting like professional firearms instructors. Like there's a certain even let's just even say that the logistical aspects.
Oh yeah,
loading up all your equipment, ammo, targets, blah blah, self-sustaining. Get in the truck, load up the trailer, and go. Right, that's the easy part. That is the easy part. There is a whole nother skill set to be had for people that can, in a quality manner, organize and host a firearms instructor coming in from anywhere. I mean, hell, even within their own state, right? It takes a really special breed of human to be able to put in the time, effort, and energy that's necessary to host and ensure a good quality class. Because I'd say it's nearly as important as having a quality instructor show up. Whoever's hosting it can make or break the quality of that training session.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you have even if you have a good program, if you have a host that like doesn't have their shit together, hasn't done it before, or perhaps objectively does it, which we've run across on occasion, not personally, but like secondhand, a host that objectively doesn't like hosting people and like will make it somewhat difficult. Yeah, that can totally happen. If you have someone who doesn't have their shit together, then yeah, it's going to make it a massive pain in the ass. But there is you're absolutely right. There's a big logistical aspect of like, all right, you load the truck up, you go somewhere, you do the class. That's cool. But if you're going to like make a whole weekend or a week out of it, you have to plan the in-between days. How much time from this area to this area? Are you going to have a stopover? Well, do you have the targetry for the whole way? Do you have to ship targetry to one? That way you have enough. And Ben talks about this on another podcast. I don't remember which one exactly, where before he was in the firearms world, him and Rachel were touring musicians. They did like club scene, techno music, and he booked all the shows. He booked for this venue this night, the next venue this night, where the van was. So it turns out the skill set of arranging the logistic aspects of shows transfers right over to range stuff.
It's awesome. It's funny too, as somebody who hosts a lot in two capacities. So like I'm both the volunteer director of training at Westshore and Green Mountain Defense hosts people. Right. What I find so interesting is how different the expectations of trainers are.
Yeah.
Like I expect the same shit no matter where I go. And I'm very clear with my, like, this is what we need in order for this. Like, you know what I mean? I have guys who all they want me to do is put them on a calendar and open the gate. Right. And well, hey, like I'm just like my reality. If I host 20 classes a year, which is about what it's been, some of them open the gate, put me on a calendar, don't bother me. Not in like a disrespectful, shitty way. Just in like a, I am Barnum. You are not Bailey. I don't need anything from you. This is my circus. I brought the elephants. All you got to do is tell me where they can shit. Like, just very.
I mean, like, that's how guys run. Like, I know.
Yeah.
I don't want to say we run exactly like that, but for the most part, we'll coordinate with like a host. We bring, I mean, depending on how far it is and the logistics of it, like if it's not too far, we'll bring our stuff, our sticks, our stands, our targets. That way, it's like we just get the space, we set everything up, and we kind of run that way.
Sure, but even in terms of like promote, like, hey, are you going to promote this? Are we going to promote this? Whose site's it going to go on? How are we going to advertise it? Like sometimes those conversations do happen. Sometimes they don't happen. So I've gotten to a point now where here for my next year's calendar, I'm going to have a host document. Like I have a trainer document that like I send to my hosts or whatever, but I'm going to hit everybody up with like a thing from the host perspective that says like, this is what I believe I'm responsible for.
It's pretty good. It's not bad.
Cross shit off as you need. Or God forbid, add. Like if there's something on there that I didn't say, like everything from like I've had people roll in and all right, what targets are we shooting on? What sticks are we using? you know, all right, I guess I'm breaking out 200 of my own USPSAs and Pacers, huh? Right. To like where, you know, Jedi's got it so down to a science that his ammo shows up and his targets show up and he knows exactly what needs to be there and where. And I think it's funny because really this industry will not. I spend a lot of my free time listening to comedy, like podcasts, stand-up stuff. And I listen to like Joe Rogan and them.
The entire ride back from TACON this year was all Kill Tony.
It was. And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But I listened to the comedians talk about like what it's like to go promote at various clubs, right? Like different comedy clubs around the country. And to your point, like, or musicians talk about what it's like to do shows at different venues and what you need or what you don't need. And I draw a lot of conclusions and similarities from those things. And I look at things like, oh, I didn't do a good enough job promoting this class to the base, or, oh, I missed the mark on what this really was going to be like. So I could have done a better job getting a different clientele in here for this person. Or, oh, like to where I start to realize it. And it's almost like the second time you host somebody is the time you dial it in right. Just like the second time you train at a place is the time that you get it squared away.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The first time you put on a great product, like you're going to teach well and all that. But now that there's that familiarity, like all the middle ground is just gone. And it's just both people know the expectations. Mm-hmm. It's funny how, like for you guys, like when I'm hosted, like because I don't travel as much, it's more of like an event for me to go a place and come back. Where you guys are doing like the Antiques Roadshow, like you're, like so you're coming to me September 21.
Yep, September 21st.
And you're in Wilkes-Barre, like the 19th.
Yes.
Right. So you've got a day or two in Wilkes-Barre teaching, and now you've got an overnight here.
Yes.
And now you're on the range the next morning, and then you leave me and you go to the next place, and there's a 36-hour window or a 40-hour window between, you know, go hot to not, to go hot again to not, and it really is more like a music tour.
Oh, it is. It's a tour. It's straight up touring. It's exactly what it is.
Right. Compared to Jedi, who's fucking getting in a time machine, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's wild. I mean, also, you've noticed the past couple of years, he's picked up a lot more staff instructors because he realized, like, yeah, this is draining. So he's got some really good guys on his staff. But I've noticed the past couple of years, like the staff instructor list got a little bigger.
Well, yeah, because you just end up like. I don't know if that's Ben or Ray over on the OFT. He's over there like 22, 26. He's like listing all his days. Like, read the T-shirt tour. Do you have the back of the T-shirt that you can just read
but that's something we should probably do.
You should do that on here.
The 2024 Northeast Tour T-shirt. That's a great idea.
Man. You should absolutely read that crap out. I find it interesting how different people do it. So here's Scott in PA and then Alaska.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, what the fuck? Like, ain't you coming back to PA? Couldn't you have made one flange? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But then again, he's running a like $3.5 million firearms training empire. So like, who's the fool? I think he's got it figured out, right?
Yeah, I think he's got it pretty squared away. Yeah, I'd say so.
Right. So we just kind of just look at this and go, man, it's interesting how different people do it. And I'm over here going, I'm having enough trouble moving between ranges that are 80 miles away from each other, plus or minus, right? And I'm sitting here thinking, as I expand this business and change it, because for the longest time it was just for me. Like, this was only my living, for my income, for my home, and for my family. And now I've got dudes working for me, and I'm like, well, we need to feed a different level of mouth, more of them specifically. So now it's like, all right, well, let's look at how you do all this. And I take something from everybody's model. From you guys, the model I take is that you are relentless in that some's better than none, and I'm going to teach, and I'm going to bring my A game right down this freaking corridor.
Yep.
and I'm going to hit as many places as I can.
Oh, yeah.
And the way you guys host is interesting too, because you'll grab a trainer and you'll host that same trainer at like a half dozen of your venues.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, because one thing that I know I'm big on, OFT's big on, is that obviously we try to bring the best product that we can, but you are missing out on a very big component of the training world if you train with the same person doing the same stuff all the time. Yeah. And that's something that while it was very difficult to get started, was one of the bigger blessings of like being able to train on my own, like not being stuck to this agency, this department, this boot camp, this branch. I can go wherever I want and pay for whatever, and I can hear everybody's. I can train with the Green Beret guy, the Ranger guy, the SWAT team guy, the competition guy, and I can take the pieces of all the things and distill it to almost an entirely new thing, but it has the DNA from all these other places.
Yeah, you and I share the same. I mean, dude, I've been training and shooting seriously for 15 years.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
It's been a long time. It's funny. Like we share some of the same lineage, like even Ben and I, and not during the same time frames. Green Mountain Defense started in Vermont. It's called Green Mountain Defense for a reason. The SIG Academy was my fucking place, dude.
Yeah.
I was in Bethel, Vermont. I had an hour and 20-minute drive to the SIG Academy.
Okay, so you're like right there. That's close.
Stay at Hampton, New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could either stay at that stupid like hotel by the racetrack by the SIG Academy.
Oh yeah, the one that's
or I could drive 20 minutes east and stay at the beach.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be eating lobster and drinking this evening. Thank you very much. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm going to go to the beach. So for a while, it was my way to get my wife to. I was like, we're going to do a beach weekend. And she's like, what class are you taking? We're going to do a beach weekend. Like, but it was that way to be like, no, you're going to come and we'll hang and we'll do the fun shit. But like, I'm for sure going to be in Epping for, 2 of these 4 days or whatever we had worked out. And to your point, right? Like, all right, what are you doing this weekend? SIG Academy. What are you doing in 90 days? SIG Academy. What are you doing in 120 days? SIG Academy. Mitch, they should have freaking given me stock.
Yeah, right.
Like, and it got stagnant. It got to a point where I was like, I could teach this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even if my shooting skill wasn't where it should have been to be able to teach it in that time in my like trajectory or whatever, I could have quoted you the curriculum because I was just hanging there.
You've done it so many times, yeah.
Right. It's funny how everybody has their like. So, what was your first one was tactical response?
Yep, that's right. My first big commercial training class was fighting pistol, taught by Jaeger in Camden.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, you went to Tennessee.
Yes, I went out there because, again, that's how I found out about him through the internet and, all his like, talking about gear and stuff. And like every video I saw, you need to get training. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to get training then. And, I was like, you know what, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all the way with it. So went online, went to the website. I read all the stuff. It's like, yeah, you can stay there. And they have like the lodging. You stay there, you take the class. Like, well, if I'm going to go out there, I'm going to stay for, 6 days. So I did 2 days of pistol, 2 days of medical, 2 days of force on force. I stayed there. Jaeger taught the first class. And that was, once I did that, I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. I love this.
Very cool. I love the fact that I have that on my resume of people I've trained with. Like, that's really cool to me.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people want to talk shit on different trainers and different organizations. For a while, it was really fashionable to bash that dude.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, man. Even if you disagree with somebody,
mm-hmm.
I can tell you on let's say a technique or a methodology or a way to teach something or whatever you might disagree with. That motherfucker believed everything he was saying.
Yes, he did. He had
100%. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
There was not like, this wasn't like, oh, I'm going to put on a dog and pony for some money.
No. No,
sir.
Yeah, and also, there's one big commonality. Every single person who talked shit about him never met him. Never went and trained with him.
Well, so there you go. So my personal experience was, I don't know about like 20% of this. Now, for me, it was way, way different, right? Mm-hmm. So it was your first. That was my 32nd. Or something, right?
Yeah,
like
you had a bunch of training.
I had a bunch of training between then and like, you know, the time I went out to Jaeger in the early like 2020. Like, and I did it here, but my point being, I was almost at a place where I was like, no, like I have an opinion, I'm training, I'm doing my own shit, I'm teaching. I disagree with that, but he's not selling it. He believes it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, well, I'm going to say some wild shit for the camera, and then I'm going to go back to being regular James.
Nope.
Well, and Ken, I remember you telling the story too. Like when you took that class, like you even sat down with him, like face to face, and like had an honest to God conversation. It wasn't like this isn't your observation from just taking the class. Like you actually asked him straight up.
Chill as fuck, man. I remember I like straight. He was like, "So, what do you think, man? Like you're teaching and stuff. What is this like?" And I was like, "I don't know about some of this." And we don't need to get into specifics, but like I brought up a point, and he was like, "Yeah, well, that's 100% what I believe." And I was like, "Yeah, I believe that." And he goes, "I just want to give you one piece of perspective." I said, "Yeah, what's that?" And he goes, "You sell private lesson packages and get to see somebody maybe as many as 20 times a year." Yep. I'm gonna see him twice if I'm lucky.
Mm-hmm.
In their life.
Yeah, I'm like, and I was kind of like, huh. He's like, yeah. So maybe we're just fucking arriving at a different point from a different perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
And super chill. You know what he didn't? He didn't like, fucking, this is the way it is, motherfucker.
Yeah, that was the big thing that people don't realize. Like, if you like, if like, obviously, Internet Jaeger is a totally different person. But like, if you like met him and came to him with like some sincerity of a criticism, he was fucking great about it. He would talk to you. You could have a conversation about that kind of shit. He wasn't blah, blah, blah in your face. He wasn't that guy. If you came to him with sincerity, it was a real conversation. Absolutely.
Yeah. It was really cool to kind of have had. That's one I'm glad I've went to. I sort of resist the idea that you have to train with this guy for whatever, like, before he dies or whatever. And there's a lot of dudes that we owe a ton of respect and gratitude to for the industry that are leaving us. But like, I don't know. I don't have to train with XYZ just because he is him or she is her.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to benefit in this moment? And as I look back and I go, you know what? I saw Jaeger take a lot of ones and turn them into threes. Like, and I also saw him get a lot of people across the threshold, like the barrier to entry, where they're either not going to train at all or they're going to take that step and come across.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like a pile of them.
Oh yeah, wow, absolutely.
And that's the thing where you go, he was a lot of people's first class, it seems. And like that's kind of a thing that we owe him, a debt of gratitude.
Oh, of course, absolutely. And that's something that honestly, he's probably like, if you've taken Fighting Pistol, you know what that class is about. But like the day one of Fighting Pistol, like I mean the whole Fighting Pistol, like the mindset part of that and like the stuff that he said there really like spurred me to do more. That's kind of how I ended up here to a certain extent, is like that initial spark of like what was instilled there. I credit with like my motivations to teaching today.
That's really neat. That's a cool lineage. So let's kind of zero. We'll focus down a little bit on what's upcoming, right? Because you guys are coming here for a class.
That's right. September 21st, we will be there.
We are nothing else if we're not constantly. I have a podcast that's about promoting every other training company but my own. Like this is what we are here for. So let's not like mince any words. If you're listening to this, we're here to recommend that it's probably a good idea to come train with these dudes while you get an opportunity to do so. So there's a lot of local folks on the line that are going to hear this, you know, within the next freaking 5 business days. The podcast will go live and I'll be getting text messages. And I don't know why y'all do this. We don't have episodes on podcasts about people that we don't recommend training for. We also don't host people like, I'll get a text like, well, is that really going to be a good class? No, motherfucker. I just thought I'd throw shit against the wall and see what would stick. Like,
no, yeah.
Like, I'm sort of tired of answering that question.
Yeah,
but
I mean, to be fair, that was our strategy for the early days.
It's when we first started. I mean, like, when everybody starts, even me, when I first started shooting, and even a little bit when I was teaching, like when you first start doing some shit, it's like there's this period of like figuring shit out. Oh, and we're back. Okay, good. I saw the swirlies. I got worried for a second.
No, you're good.
Yeah, so there is
Never
this period
dropped audio, just video.
Yeah.
You're square.
When like when I started shooting, when I started teaching, there's this period of like, well, I'm kind of figuring this out, so I'm just gonna emulate like what Ben's doing or what Rachel may be doing, or like you guys, like when you first started podcasting, it's like, all right, we got this thing. What are the other podcasts doing? And you kind of do that until you find your niche and the thing that you're good at, and then you go with it. And same thing with me.
I'm sorry. That can't have just happened, did it, TJ?
Yeah, it just happened.
Holy shit. What's up, Vanessa Kitty? Day one listener, 150 episodes. Do you, like, you have to have, like, a GPS, a dog collar on us that you know what we do every time we do it. The most loyal fan of the show, handle Vanessa Kitty. Hello. Rolls into the show. I'll stop anybody from talking. Fucking Jaeger could have been reincarnated and come back and been on the podcast. I'd be like, stop. Vanessa Kitty's up in this bitch. Hi. Thank you for showing up. That's so cool. Your record is like almost perfect on this. Pretty neat to see. If you wondered why TJ and I's faces just both went, no.
Yeah.
So in terms of this curriculum, so I've got the event pulled up here.
Mm-hmm.
Defensive pistol, accuracy, accountability, September 21 at my place over here, Westshore Sportsman. We've got the link. We've got all the stuff. That'll all be in the episode, and it'll all be part of the podcast. Like
Very cool.
at when it goes out, so anybody can read. If you're hearing me talk and you're wondering what I'm looking at, that's what it is. But like, distill down for me what this course is and who it's for, please.
Perfect. So, accuracy and accountability is kind of the bread and butter of pistol work of OFT, because like the defensive pistol, like the regular defensive pistol class, I'll do more of, because that's more akin to like the fighting pistol type, where it's gun handling for 3/4 of the day, like how to like drawing your gun with purpose, fixing malfunctions, reloads, doing stuff with purpose. And then once you got the gun handling down, then we'll jump into actual marksmanship and some bullseyes, maybe even a little bit of timer at the end of the day. But it's all gun handling, reloads, malfunction clearances, drawing on them with the move, that kind of stuff. Accuracy and accountability is, it's not a totally fluid curriculum, but it is definitely more tailored to the crowd. But I will say this much. If you've never drawn from a holster before, you are going to have a bad time. I've actually had it where people are like, oh, yeah, no, I just got my Ruger LCP 22 with my Glock 19 holster. And I'm like, ma'am, I'm going to need you to come back at a different date. Because it's like some people who like just don't have a handle on this. And like, you can be, I'm not saying you got to be, USPSA Grandmaster to come to the class, but it would be great if you went to a class before, where you've kind of been in the class environment, drawn the gun around other people. That way, like none of that stuff is novel to you. But in terms of distilling the curriculum, you will do some bullseyes. You'll probably do some timer work, but it's always a little different. You're never going to take the same class. It's never going to be the same class twice. We're always going to tailor it to who needs what. Maybe some strong hands, offhand shooting, bullseye work, 25 yards. There's a billion drills. Maybe a casino drill come out at the end of the day. We always tailor it to the audience. That's always a big thing.
Very cool. So it's a sort of intentionally, like it's an entry level, not entry level in skill set, but it's our first offering together. Like it's our first time we're bringing you out. It's not a heavy lift. It's a 1-day class. It's not both days. Mm-hmm. It's a Saturday class. You can still go chill with the wife and do the honey-do list on the Sunday.
Yep.
I'm just Ben did not ask me for business advice, but I'm going to give you some. $175 is too cheap for a whole day of your effort.
Yeah, I was just looking that up. I was like, you got to be shitting me. It only costs $175 for a class like this.
That's a fucking deal, bro.
I'm glad you said it, because You know, a little bit of a tangent about getting people to train that. So
Yeah.
before I became I mean, you know how difficult to get people out and pay money for this stuff. That's why our prices are the way they are. But the way things are going, I don't know. We may have to raise stuff. But in terms of getting people to come and train, when I first got into the training culture, I'm like, this, like, you know, when you step beyond the, like, hey, buddy's going to the range, bringing out your guns and like having fun, and you go and take a class and your mind gets open to like the potential of like skills and ideas, you're like, I need everybody to do this. I want to say maybe 2 years of like taking classes, and there was a period in time where I would tell like my serious shooting buddies, like, yo, this class, like, you should take a class with me. Come out with me. I will pay for your class if you come with me. I had 0 people take me up on that. No one ever wanted a free class out of me.
Yeah, well, here's one for you. If you've got a need and you don't have to tell me what it is, I will buy 1 slot for somebody in this class. $175? Are you kidding me? Somebody email me and tell me you need a free slot. I'll palm Ben $200 and fucking leave him a tip.
Okay.
Like, get out of here. $175. Like, that's a really, really good spend.
Yeah, and I mean, being sometimes the negative Nancy of the podcast here, that's not so much a testament to what product you guys are putting out. Like, we could have the whole discussion about value proposition, but I think the bigger issue here is that this is a testament to how dedicated people are to really getting training. And quite frankly, it's one of the reasons why we do this podcast. Get your lazy ass up and go fucking train.
Yeah. Like, seriously. So I'm going to break some business down for you guys. And like, as I'm about to bust into this, this started with me and Sean being like, yo, we should talk about this on a podcast. We should get together. Him and I got to celebrate and be chill because he hit his standard. That was all cool. If I was going to do what I'm about to do, I should have had Ben on here because I'm about to break into some business stuff. And I don't mean to disrespect or anything like that. I mean to actually like communicate to the student body what this looks like. So I'm going to give myself a little leeway. If he sells through this well, he's going to maybe bring in $1,750. 10 slots to this would be a good sell through. 16, right? 16 would be like killing it. 10 would be a great sell through. At $1,750, at least 1, if not 3 adult humans are going to travel, right? So I don't know if y'all are going to be together before and stay together and come, or if A and B and C have to like cross paths or whatever.
I can tell you, being that Lewis, but like Westshore is only about 3.5 hours from us. It's going to be an in and out day. We ain't going to stay anywhere.
I got you, but you're still having to travel.
Mm-hmm.
You got gas and food and like pink shirts to buy and shit, and like so you got travel day. You've got to spread money around a primary and a second, like a teacher and an AI at least.
Yeah, that's probably what it'll be.
Right. So now you're cutting your number in half, and that doesn't. I don't propose to know or presume what the split is between guys. That's not the point.
Mm-hmm.
The point is you're now freaking dividing out your number to $875 a human. Right. You're gonna do, I don't know, 10 hours of labor at a minimum.
Yeah,
more right. Right. So we're going to divide that out, and you're going to get world-class instruction for $87.50 an hour per human. Okay, well dude, I barely get out of bed for less than $100 an hour anymore. Let's just being real, right? So to my clientele, what I'm telling you is you're getting world-class. You're getting very, 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 very good for entry level, first time in the market. Let's see if we can make this work pricing. Quite honestly, I would say that you guys would have maybe sold this better if it was $250.
Really?
Huh. Yeah, because people have that, like, they place a value on what they think the product is going to be based on the price. I might be crazy, but what I will say for sure is like that's stellar value. I've also been Ben and I did I think we did our advanced range master thing together. I want to say I'm not totally tracking if I'm right. At some point, Ben and I were both screamed at by an old guy with a clipboard, and then we left with a certificate. So like, I don't know which time that was, but like, I'm just sitting here going, man, y'all dudes are putting out good effort, good work, a good product. You should hang your head next to nobody who like. There's a lot of great training at Westshore, but like, you guys are fantastic shooters, good humans, good teachers. It should go.
This is going to be a bit shallow, but even the way that you guys present the information on the website's very well done.
Oh, thank you.
Information's very, very detail oriented to the right level of detail. Like it's not too much.
That's like you know how to like read and you know how to scroll the mouse button down, because I can't tell you how many people that like see class, press button, pay money, and then like, oh, what do I need to? I had this happen last year. I had somebody show up to a pistol class with no eyes, no ears, no ammo, no magazines, no holster, a Glock 43 in a fanny pack with no accessory equipment, period.
Oh, yeah, he's more prepared than I was for Afghanistan.
That's
so yeah, we have it laid out because we need to try to distill it down to a common denominator where anybody with any sense will pick up on it right away.
Yeah.
So I like that. So Ben's over here in the chat. So I do not take $500 at gunpoint. I'm good. I might be good enough for one of these motherfuckers, but there ain't no way I'm gonna rob two of them. I'm done. I'm 100% done. That ain't gonna work. But I'm gonna read his comment here out. He says, "I'd rather get a student 7 times a year for $175 than the same student 4 times a year at $250."
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. So there's the mindset behind it. That's why this is what it is, right? So if that's where your head's at, then like I respect you and I commend you for it. All the more reason, y'all, like jump the fuck in.
That is also Ben's point, is that like obviously this is my job, this is how we make our money, but we're not looking to wring money out of people. We want to actually see you get better. Like I know I couldn't sleep well at night if I had someone showing up, $250 a week, coming to weekend classes and just sucking every month and being the same shooter. And if even though I was getting money out of them, it's like I don't feel fulfilled because I'm not doing anything for that person. It's just a transaction at that point. I'm not helping them. I'm not teaching. I'm not an instructor at that point. I'm a fucking accountant.
Yeah, that's a really fair point. It's funny how that goes. So
the bottom line here is you guys are presenting what appears to be a quality product that is, in our opinion, deserving of far more than $175 a student. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, and I'm sort of chastising my audience a little. Like I know who's gonna hear this.
Good.
So like, don't ask me if it's worth it at $175. Just show the fuck up. Mm-hmm. Like if it ain't, it ain't. And I talked to a guy who just signed up yesterday.
Good.
Who I know, like I know that's exactly why he signed up. But I'm in it. So whoever hears my voice first and emails ken@greenmountaindefense.com, fucking hit me up. I'll buy you a slot. Like if you're sitting there like, because I like now we did the dad talk. Now let's be real. Joe Biden and them are trying to ruin our whole ass economy. Like if you're hurting hard and you really want to be there and it's really not feasible. At the moment, we're not hurting hard. Like, so let us buy you. Like, I have no problem buying somebody a slot. What? We ain't going to make no fucking announcement about it at class. You don't need to suck my dick on a podcast. Just email me and say something and we'll transact and it'll be fine. I love spreading shooting karma around. So like, I'd be happy to grab somebody a slot.
That's cool, you man. That's great.
Yeah, dude.
Although, side note, fun game to play. Put like a password or like a discount code in the description of the class just to see who catches it.
Oh, that's evil.
Oh yeah. Well, the trick is if we put it all the way at the bottom, no one's going to know it's there. Not a single person is going to know.
Yeah.
So for those of you playing the home game, when I go through the trouble to post this hyperlink into this description, read the fucking Details.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Notepad or notebook with pen?
Yeah. So it's
like
funny. That's part of it
class.
because, we want people to take notes. People read the description so few. Whenever I see someone pull out a notepad, I'm like, what are you writing down? I'm not that smart. And I'm like, oh, right. Like it actually tells you to bring that. And so few people remember that. I'm like, I get confused sometimes.
You think he's going to like take your order for the deli sandwich you want or something?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's fucking fun. So all I want to know is how many B8s we're going to shoot.
A decent amount. You will shoot a decent amount. I'm glad you like them. I can't fucking stand them.
Ken's going to come.
Oh, baby. Finally, something I'm amazing at. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. No, there's guaranteed. So it doesn't matter. I will say that much. It doesn't matter who's teaching. If I'm leading a class or Ben's leading a class, you're going to shoot B8s because, like, I'm with Scott on this one. I hate them. I hate them. I think they're dumb, but they are an excellent tool for, like, finite marksmanship diagnostic.
Absolutely.
I still hate them, though. I don't care.
Somebody once said that which is measured is improved.
Oh, yeah. And that's actually a good segue to maybe it's something I do like to bring up on occasion is that talking about tactical response and training and that there's these two like communities that aren't really melding in the shooting world of like the USPSA gamery dudes and like the tactical like fighting.
He'll be back.
Okay, I'd make sure I didn't say something wrong and ruin everything. But yeah,
no, you're good.
Those two cultures that like never meld. And actually, that's a big part of like what I do to teach. It's like I started off with tactical response and the fighting culture, but then I've trained with the other dudes and like I do competitive shooting. I've trained with Tim Herron and like bringing those together to like, yeah, you need to learn how to do things with your gun. But if you just always, do the same moves and like you don't measure what you're doing, you're not going to improve. It's like going to the gym. You spend any time in the gym, you don't just walk in and go that dumbbell and just pick it up and move it. And no, you do how many reps, how many sets,
what the weight was. Yeah. All that shit. Yeah. And this is the thing, just to help dispel some of the rumors, right? Guys, there's a lot of like Green Berets and Navy SEALs and all these super whiz bang cool people. All the people that you ask about their qualifications and you will probably go train with them just because of those qualifications. Guess what? They compete in USPSA and the gamer shit too.
Mm-hmm.
Because one supports the other.
Yes.
So on 1 month, they might be in some foreign wasteland, Mozambique drilling some dude in the chest, right? The next month, they're showing up to their local range after they got home from a deployment to go do pew-pew stuff on a timer with some paper targets and have some fun. But also, it builds the skill set.
Yeah.
Right?
Here's the analogy that I like to use for that. Like in credit to like Jaeger, like Miyamoto Musashi stuff, warrior has to know how to do two things with a sword. Swing the sword and sharpen the edge. Learn to swing the sword, learn to slice, to parry, to block, whatever your sword moves are. That's the tactical response. That's the moving while reloading. That's the drawing and like that's the martial end. Sharpening the edge. That's the USPSA. That's the timer stuff because you can swing your sword real well, but if the edge isn't sharpened, then the skill is lost. The same idea of, if you have a very sharp edge, like if you're on Instagram, just, put timer stuff and yeah, I'm fast, but like you're not hitting stuff and like your gun handling isn't there. A sharpened edge is still useless if you don't know how to wield it. So swing the sword, sharpen the edge. You need both of those things.
That's a fucking $10 analogy right there, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's solid. If I was at class and I had the notebook, I would have wrote that the fuck down.
Well, fortunately, it's going to be recorded on the podcast and it's going to be enshrined on the internet until YouTube pulls this video.
No, it'll be there forever because Apple is the freest fucking internet thing on the planet.
There you go.
And it'll be on iTunes for like your children's grandchildren's grandchildren will hear you fucking talking about that. I love it.
And the backups will be forever stored in my network area storage device.
Perfect.
Nice. That's really, really solid. So we got the link and all that in class or in the description about class. we had like the class has seats sold, but there is room in it. Like let's freaking go. I think that it's interesting how people want to ask about a value proposition on a class. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to flip your seat now. How do you evaluate whose class or what class you want to go take? What are you looking at in terms of vetting an instructor or vetting a course or vetting, like you're looking at a date. So you're the guy, shit, we'll name somebody, right? Let's just say your name's Jim, because Jim's going to hear this. And you've got this guy, Kent, who you've trained with, and you're at this place. You're at like 2 or 3 ranges that Kent trains at, as a matter of fact. And you're looking at a training calendar of all these people that are being brought into town, right? And every year I'm hitting people with 20 at least other people that I'm bringing into town on some level, it seems, right? Either as the Westshore range volunteer guy or as the I'm putting my business name on it, let's go kind of deal. You're looking at Westshore's club calendar going, holy fuck, which one of these do I do? Right? How do you evaluate that? Is it Instagram likes and clicks and book faces and smiles, right? Is it the most famous person? Is it just, fuck, man, I got that weekend, so let's go. Who's ever coming that weekend's my God. Like, how are we making this choice?
Yeah, well, it's funny. You say, well, I got that weekend free. Our regulars still show up that way sometimes. Like, I had this weekend open, so I want to come shoot. It's like, all right, listen, you're paying money to come hang out with us. Fucking thank you for being here. I'm going to make sure you get something out of it. But you're talking about for like, student X, unknown student, looking at the calendar, what course do I want to take? You need to ask yourself, what do I want? What am I looking for? Am I looking for, weapon system platform, dynamic pistol 3, shooting under cars kind of stuff? But even before that, you need to ask yourself, where am I? Because we get people who are like brand new to stuff, just learn to draw from a holster. And don't get me wrong, 4-man vehicle team tactics is one of the most fun I've ever had in a class. Shooting out of cars with other dudes and plate carriers, that's a great time. But if you got your permit last month and you're looking for your first training class, that's not the place to go. So the 2 big things you need to ask yourself are, what do I need and where am I at? Now, it's a weird sliding scale paradoxical thing, because if you're brand new, you don't want to go like real far into the spectrum and like advanced pistol stuff that you're not comfortable doing. But at the same time, if you're black belt patch, world record holder, master level instructor, you will benefit from going back, because you may see things in a new way. Just like when me, Ben, and Rachel went up to SIG Academy about a month and a half ago, handgun 103. Some people may think, 103, that's the 3rd level. That's 101 is like, hey, this is gun. 102 is like, okay, here's what you do with your gun. And 103 is like a step past that. So even though it's 103, that's a big step back from master instructor and classes. So to answer your question before my brain does weird stuff, when you look at the class, look at what do you need as a student and where are you at? And obviously the more research, the better, because if you train with, Jim Bob Tactical, he was in the U.S. Army and he was, the weapons instructor, and he's got all these long worded like qualifications. You still want to be careful with that, because guys can drum that up. Good example, if you active self-protection, John Correa, he talks about this, and he's like, oh yeah, you look at the qualifications, like who the instructor is. He's like, oh yeah, I was in the armed forces, but he was in the Navy as a generator operator. Like, just because he was in the service doesn't mean he's qualified to do that. So what you're looking for and where you're at are the biggest things. Like, look at what the instructor is doing and what you need out of the class. I guess that would be the big 2.
I like that. I'm not going to ask you to share whose or what class. Have you ever been really disappointed in a class?
Yes, there actually is one that comes to mind. Yep. I'm going to keep it as vague as possible.
Yeah. I don't want
to disparage because this instructor in this program is very good.
Yep.
But for me, it was a 2-day class, carbine and handgun. And this was one of those guys, one of those, door kicking overseas, shooting with teams, all kinds of awesome stuff. Like they did the thing. But I found in the class that while it wasn't a bad, like the layout of the class wasn't bad, this instructor, one, didn't demo, which I thought was interesting. I guess that was a one-off thing. I guess this instructor's don't demos usually, but I just found it odd. Like for me,
still a red flag.
But I guess it was a one-off thing because they demo normally. Now, for me, if I'm in a class, if I tell you to do this drill, I am guaranteed to do the drill at least once. Probably more than once, because I'm never going to ask a student to do something that I wouldn't be willing to fuck up in front of the whole class.
Right.
But that's besides the point. The demo thing was odd. I found, I don't know, maybe the shooting standards were not bad. I guess maybe it was a coincidental thing. I didn't see anything new. I guess that's like everything that we did and that was talked about, I had done before.
Yep.
Affirmative to your text. So
yeah, I didn't text him.
I know.
Yeah. Who texted you? I didn't text you. Ben, are you texting him?
He might be texting. Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
That was something else.
Yeah, right. See, that's how you know you're on a live. That usually happens to me. That's how you know you're on a live podcast because you get texts from people that.
It's funny, like when we first started before, I had gotten like 3 or 4 messages. So I'm just looking at stuff real fast, and I was like, so yeah, no, I just got to actually. There's another one that just went through. I got a Facebook Messenger thing because when we start, like right after 9 o'clock, everyone's like, "Oh, where's the link?" And I'm like, "I'm on live. I can't start pressing buttons. I'm not going to start like, oh, hold on, let me fix this." So I have it posted on. It'll be online. But yeah, like again, not a bad class. Just for me, I was like, all right, not bad. Here's the way I'd say it: it wasn't a bad class, but I wouldn't take it again.
Interesting. So I'll give you a different sort of perspective on one. How about somebody who you've seen 4 or 5 times, and the 4th or 5th or 6th or however, like one time you're like, oh fuck, this dude's puppy had to die or something. Like, what are we missing here? Like, yeah, like so this is rough when it's somebody like, and obviously I'm thinking of one, and who y'all have no idea what I'm talking about. None of you who think you know have any clue. This is very obscure. But I once took a class from somebody. It was actually a medical class that like I know was like, and have attended and have seen and was like, this is. I brought my buddy. I was like, y'all, come on, this is fucking awesome. Let's go.
Oh no, you brought somebody too. Yeah,
somebody. I filled a fucking truck. I brought 6 dudes up to this bitch.
Oh, good for you, bro. You found 6 people altogether that want to go. That's good stuff.
They didn't have a choice. I kidnapped them. This is
fair enough.
Ben's not too far off with the at gunpoint shit. Just, not with a black belt patch holder and Ben. I'm terrified of both. Like, fuck that. I ain't playing that game. I'm going to die.
I mean, he seems like a gentle soul.
It's just a nice bear. It's fine. But we went to this med class. And my boys are like sitting there, and my dude looks at me and he's like, motherfucker, I got like off work.
I put pants on for this.
like it was, I was like, and I vet like to the point where I approached said instructor and was like, dude, are you all right? And then the truth comes out. No, his puppy didn't die, but like some shit, And like you're sitting there and you're like, you ought to just shut this bitch down, homie. Just refund this. Just be done. Just get up there, say what's up, move on. Right? That's not how he chose to handle it, unfortunately. But like, have you ever seen one of those where you're like, I know this is usually on fire, and today it ain't barely but smoldering. You ever been through one of them?
Fortunately, I haven't had like gone to a class somewhere where instructor like had something happen and like stuff wasn't the same. So keep it that way. Yeah, everything's been good so far. I haven't had one of those, fortunately.
That's good. What about in your own curriculum and your own stuff? You ever like pulled off and you're heading home and you're like, yep, that was not what we were trying to accomplish.
So yeah, that happens.
Yep.
That you always have one of, like, no one's perfect. Everybody has their one. Everybody has like a bad day, or a lot of the time it's that exact. So that thing you're talking about was the reason that we've actually changed not curriculum but formatting classes. So like our Wednesday, like one of our big classes is our Wednesday night skill builder in Carmel. Every Wednesday night, Hudson Valley Shooting Sports, everybody gets together, 3-hour pistol skill builder. We do all the cool guy stuff. It's a lot of history, a lot of heritage in that Wednesday night. But we have recently changed our formatting to where that's not a beginner class anymore. It used to be like, oh yeah, Wednesday night, everybody's open, everybody comes in. And what'll happen is we'll have that student who's been exclusive to us for a year. Like I actually have a couple students who their day one on a pistol was with me, and I got to see their whole progression. So we'll have guys like that on the range, and then, oh yeah, man, I just got my pistol permit, I want to learn to shoot. Those two students need completely different classes, which means somebody's not going to win. And then you go home after one of those nights, it's like, yeah, like we helped the new guy through, the new guy needed help, but we had like 4 of our regulars who were just kind of like, I guess I'm here tonight. And it's like that's the kind of stuff that gets me, because it's like we want to help everybody. Like the new people, we want to get them in, we want to get them up to speed, but we can't do it at the same time of like the guy who's been behind the same gun in the same class for a year. Those are the nights that you're like, we missed a lot. We missed a lot for some people.
The hope is that you can take the 10% on the bottom and the 10% on the top and throw them both out and work to the 80.
Yeah.
Like that's the hope, but you can't. A 3-hour Wednesday night format does not exactly lend itself to that level of like depth. I do the same thing. I do a Thursday night thing here with our Sights Practical Shooters group at Westshore. Talk about heritage. Like that's some bit. Hirsch Gooden and Tom Gibbons are buddies, and they've been around since fucking like the dude who started our Thursday night thing started it in 1878 or 9.
Wow,
I can't
wild.
Like some stupid, like that was a joke, but they've been doing it since 1986.
No shit. That's a lot, man. That is
a
lot.
Right. So like, that's a long time. They've been doing it like in the years that Kent has been on planet Earth, they've done this every time, like every Thursday I've been alive for. That's pretty cool.
That's insane.
Like, so it's a tough thing to see. Like, and then my last favorite, like for this kind of line of questioning, anybody ever really surprise you where you're like, I don't know what to expect from this, but like, we'll see how it goes. And then you get there and you're like, this is fucking amazing.
Oh yeah,
I love those.
Yeah, we get those. Those are always great when you're like, this new guy. Actually, no disrespect to our law enforcement, but it's usually cops that, like, when we get a cop who comes into class and we're like, ooh, like, what are you gonna do? But actually, one dude we met recently in our Connecticut, in Stratford, we do monthly like skill builders there. One of the dudes who's a cop out there, I'm like, oh, you're a cop. You ever trained before? He's like, not really. I'm like, all right, let's see what you got. Unfortunately, he just lights out. I'm like, all right, cool. I ain't got to back nothing off anymore. So that's always a good time when it's like, all right, you got your shit together. Here comes the timer. Take about 10 steps back. Let's have some fun.
Now send me 10 of your friends that can't shoot the inside of a barn if they were locked in it.
Oh yeah, he gets those guys.
Hey, no, look, love my brothers and sisters in blue, but some of y'all can't shoot for shit. Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, you also have to remember that like police qualifications and academy training are designed to tailor to the lowest common denominator. So
sadly, yes.
Yeah, that bar unfortunately can get fairly low sometimes.
It's almost as if they exist simply to limit their organizations from liability and have nothing to do with proficiency.
As if.
What a coinky dink, right?
Yeah. So we're gonna round this out. Like I'm gonna hit you with like some more like personal ethos stuff to kind of like end the night. Okay. Because I really, really enjoy in the training community, and I'll say it like this. I gotta tell you, man, 9.9 out of 10 humans I meet are like, I want to have a beer with that guy and spend a day and get to know. Like, I really like, this is a cool fucking human being, right? You don't very often come across somebody in this industry. There absolutely are snakes in the grass, as there will be anywhere, ever, all the time. But like, I'm floored by the general overall quality of the humans that I get to meet. I really and truly am. And you're sort of no different. So I would like to kind of understand how shooting has impacted your personal ethos. Like where has shooting and has teaching changed you as a person outside of skills or draws or hits or fucking, like, what has it brought out of you just in your own personal life?
Well, I can tell you the past 3 years, especially like with this guy, with this particular thing, even outside of shooting, is just this level of like determination of like, okay, this is a thing I want to do, and I'm going to like lean into all of the suffering that comes along with getting better to it. And that's one of the things that I love about shooting. It's like I played a lot of team sports in high school and like after high school, football, and the team sports is great. There's a lot there, but there is something that I love about the shooting sports that it's like, it's just you. You know, you step up to the line for your black belt patch. Nah, it's just you. You're the one who has to perform. Same reason I like a hobby. I'm a hobbyist powerlifter. You get in the rack, you squat. It's like it's an individual thing, and there's a level of like personal responsibility and accountability for your performance. And I think that's something I've leaned into heavily. It's like, it's one thing. It's like, oh yeah, don't get me wrong. OFT is a great team. We're all really like Ben and Rachel are awesome, but there is a level of personal accountability that you have to have, which is another saying. Like when I do cop classes, like last year we did Middletown SWAT team. They came out to Guilford, Connecticut. We did a little class there, and the guys from the Middletown SWAT team, they're a bunch of fucking hooligans. They're some cool dudes, but 4 of them were there, and I was talking to them about performance because they could see how me and Ben could shoot, and I told them this, because you guys are on a team and you count on each other. You are not obligated to be the best, although you should strive for it. You are obligated to guarantee that you are not the one who holds the team back. And that's something I try to like put into everything with shooting. And
that's a really, really, really good answer, man. I like that. I like that a lot. So let's do some promotion.
Yeah.
What's this pink shirt tactical shit? Is that an Instagram handle? Where can they find you?
That is more of my personal thing. So, yeah. Okay. Also, obviously, as you notice, I have like, although I seem goofy and dumb, there is meaning into the things I say. So Pink Shirt Tactical was like, it's my internet handle, YouTube, Instagram. You just go on YouTube, Instagram, wherever, Pink Shirt Tactical, all one word. That's me. I started it because, I'm getting into the shooting culture. I want to be part of this cool Instagram operator thing. But if you look at the names of companies and organizations, GBRS Group and Concepts Development Team, Weapon System Platform, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's cool, like for the marketing, but that's all like alluding to like, operator, Delta Ranger, Navy SEAL, door kicker, Special Forces guy. The Pink Shirt Tactical was like, oh, I'll tell you the origins of it, and then I'll tell you what it is. So years ago, got some buddies upstate New York doing a pistol competition every year. And this was around the time of like, remember when like the Boogaloo, everybody was wearing Hawaiian shirts and plate carriers and all that shit. So everyone's like, oh yeah, we're going to dress up. And I'm like, I'm not going to go buy a shirt for this. So I opened my drawer. I'm like, what do I have? I found, I don't know where it came from, a Gildan highlighter pink, this color, like a t-shirt. And I'm like, all right, good enough. That'll work. And for some reason, I was the butt of the joke because I had the pink shirt. I'm like, have you seen the shirts you're wearing, guys? Anyway, competition goes on and the scores come out, and there was a gigantic margin between me and second place. So I'm like, well, this is my thing now. But there is also a bit of a deeper meaning. So, when we talk about tactical stuff, tactical is almost like a bad word at this point. So I wanted some irony in the name, but the pink shirt is like, you don't have to be Ranger, Special Forces, Navy, Operator, Delta SEAL guy. Like for me, I was never in the military. I was never a cop, but I have made it a point to go on this path, this warrior's journey of like getting good with shooting. And that's really what the pink shirt is about. It's like, you don't have to be, long tab Ranger, Special Forces guy. Regular people can achieve this same stuff. That's another reason I like the shooting culture is because no one's born good at this. Unless your last name is Michalek, you're not born good at doing this.
And that Chinese kid that dry fired a lot and showed up and won USPSA Nationals, having never fired a live shot.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
I don't know if that's just like a legend or something, but that's two of them. The Chinese kid and Michalek.
I don't know that he showed up and won a major event like that, but there was a kid that explicitly did airsoft either China or Japan.
Hold on. Are you talking about? So again, I don't want to bring up names, but it's for specificity's sake. That was the dude who T-Rex arms they broke.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So T-Rex is local. T-Rex is local to me.
Oh no shit, that's cool.
Yeah. I've met those guys before. I've shot with them. Their
arms are longer than they advertise.
They are. Yeah.
Really
Lucas. Yeah, that's one of the things a lot of people don't realize about Lucas. That kid's fucking tall.
Yeah,
like his
long and lanky and shit.
Whole family's like that, man. Awesome people though. Awesome people. But yeah, like there's that kid that came out and they put a real gun in his hand. They gave him obviously some basic like safety stuff, but like the skill set transitioned like right over. It was pretty.
Yeah. No, like the manipulations were there. At the same time, there was like a good chunk of that video. Like if you go back and I watch it once in a while because this comes up from time to time. If you watch the first I want to say 10 minutes of that video. Okay, so he handles his gun really well. They didn't really show the targets a whole lot. There's a reason for that. It's because when you watch some of airsoft, he's pressing the trigger, he's doing a thing, and manipulations were great. But once the gun went bang, that thing in his head is like, oh shit, this is loud and explodey, and you could see it on some of like the malfunctions where it was like click, that thing showed up. So I'm not discrediting it. I'm saying you can use airsoft as a tool, but it doesn't translate.
Those are results that I would expect from anybody that had that, right? Hell, I see that myself. Like it happens to me still, right? There's after the show, we'll have to have Kent tell you the story about my experience releasing the cheetah at Jedi's class.
Is it
fuck that? We're doing it live. This is the greatest story that's ever been.
Well, first thing, it's a cougar, so let's get that cleared up.
Cougar, cheetah.
Whatever.
No.
Oh, this is the whole story. Okay,
no.
I gotta hear this now.
Holy fuck! First of all, it was the cheetah because this cat could have been so far different than Jedi's cat. They were barely the same fucking feline, my brother. So let me tell you that. So this was during the time that Jedi was still doing a mini stage during his class.
Okay.
So for a while, Jedi was setting up a mini stage in class. And having guys shoot like a mini USPSA stage. Nothing like Wood Heron or not a real stage, like maybe like a true mini stage, like maybe one or two arrays and some movement, right? So did you ever take a Jedi class when he was doing that?
Actually, no, that was before I showed up.
Okay. All right.
This was 4 years ago.
Fine. Okay. Anyway, you can't even get the cat. You can't even get the cat right. It's fine. Moving on. So all weekend, Jedi's talking about he's like, yeah, man, I've released the Cougar, Stephen A. Smith, that whole thing. Like he's doing that thing, and we set this up, and it's at Royal Range in Nashville on an indoor bay, right? So we set up this little stage, and it's like not a big stage, and we're talking times, and you're looking at it, and TJ's like. He says something like, I'm going to do it in sub-7 or something.
No, I didn't say anything like that. Jedi said, I will beat by 2 seconds.
That's right.
The best time that comes out.
That's actually exactly how it happened. So old TJ over there is like, I'm going to release the cheetah. And I'm like, wrong zoo animal, but all right. Let's fucking,
all right, whatever.
It'll be fine. It's a cat leaving a cage. Let's see what happens. So a bunch of runs happen. Some of us hit some alphas. Old TJ steps up. Are you ready? Stand by. 575. Closest time before that was
easily. Yeah. Jedi legit read the timer and goes, oh shit.
Right? Jedi reads the timer and goes, oh fuck. I'm walking around pasting, and I'm like, Jedi, no alphas were harmed in the making of that run. Not a one. There's just I'm walking around pasting going, Delta Mike, Delta, Delta Mike.
It was horrible.
No.
It was horrible.
He fucking released the cougar, all right. That cougar got ran over by a car the second that bitch got onto the freeway. Like, it was just.
Hey, but motherfucker, I look good doing it.
Fast as fuck.
No
ceilings. Look,
just be an Instagram op. Just don't show the hits. That's all.
Right.
No ceilings were hit. No floors were hit.
That's good.
Every round hit the backstop in Tennessee that it was designated to hit. But like, I mean, an old Jedi's just standing there, and he looks at that, and he looks at the hit factor, and he's like, I mean, I'm certainly not going to do this in 375. Right? And we're like, yeah, like clearly. And he goes, I don't know. How about I give you about a 7 and I hit some stuff? And proceeds to do exactly that, right? And it was so funny because it was like TJ was back there and like everybody was like, yeah. And you could see on TJ's face, TJ's like, for a red dot class, I sure didn't see a lot of fucking red dots in that little experiment.
I didn't see that motherfucker at all the whole time. Like, I have a tendency to get a little overexcited at certain things. It's a ginger thing. Like we just no soul, like lose track of all sense of reality.
All these dudes are looking at him, and I'm the only one on the other side, like looking back. And I'm looking at his face, like, oh, thank God, at least he knows he didn't hit any fucking thing.
Oh yeah,
like, I'm not about to like totally destroy him.
It was kind of like that scene in Old School with Will Ferrell's like, what happened? I just got blacked out for a minute.
That's awesome, bro.
It was so gorgeous to watch. Because like Jedi's like standing there looking at TJ with the time, just like the fuck, like he's like counting shots, like no, there's definitely all the right shit, like. And then I'm like, yo, Jedi, Mike Delta, Mike. Like, I don't think there was a Charlie up in that bitch. Like,
no, there was at least a couple of those. Give me a little credit. I did prove that you can pattern a Glock 34.
That was so damn funny though. That was also the class where there's a gentleman by the name of Ben.
Oh,
from the Tennessee Department of Corrections. Not your Ben.
Not our Ben.
Ben. Tennessee Department of Corrections.
I had to teach Ken to speak Tennessean for a minute.
Jedi's got me with the tablet putting their names in for the practice score thing, right? So I'm like, what's your name, man? And he looks me dead in the face and does this. Man. I go, run that by. I'm like fucking with my ear pro. I'm like,
hold on, what?
Yeah, right. Run that by me again. Man. Like he like looked me in the eye to do it. Like, what's the matter with you, right? Hey man, you're gonna have to give me that one more time. Like, I don't understand. Hey, like he does it again, and I go, can I see your fucking ID? Like I'm not gonna do this anymore. Give me your driver's license. Gets his driver's license out, Benjamin. I'm like, oh, Ben. And he goes, what the fuck do you think I said?
You're like, I don't know, man.
And Jedi's like standing there like, stop. Like, it was fucking, that was a wild weekend. I'm not sure I learned anything that whole weekend, but god damn did I have fun. Just watching TJ the whole time, like in our first, that was his and my first class
releasing the
together.
cheetah.
Yeah, just all the cheetahs being released.
So
it's a good experience. So, guys, we'll have to do this again, right? Okay. So you're for sure if you made it this far, you're invited back. We didn't pull the fucking plug at any point, so that's always good. Is there anything we should have asked you and we didn't? Something you wanted to cover and you're like, God damn it, we haven't done it yet.
Really, I mean, as long as just whatever you guys really wanted to talk about, and then the big thing, obviously, for the training. For everybody in the lower PA area, September 21st, Westshore Sportsman, we will be there. You got the link. I've been seeing it go through on there. OFTLLC.us. That's really the big thing. Other than that, I'm just happy to talk to you guys.
Yeah, man. Well, we're so happy to have you. Thank you so much for giving us all your time, right?
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Sure. Quite an ask on a Friday night. Like, young single man like yourself just got the black belt patch, probably covered in cheetah, as it were, and you're gonna like take time out of your night to come hang with us. So we appreciate that. Listeners, like, this wouldn't be a thing Like this is a labor of love for us. Thank you all for putting in effort to listen to this. This is going to get heard a lot more times over the next 9 months from now. Some dude's hearing this. Look him up. Go find OFT. Go see what he's up to now. Go see what Ben and the crew's doing. Like this will be a legacy kind of an episode. It'll be your first one. It certainly won't be yours or OFT's last one. Like we're gonna have to get the rest of the crew to come out and do stuff, and get all the casts potted, so forth.
No.
TJ, what do you got? Last stuff, thoughts, questions, cougars, cheetahs, souls.
I mean, he really should just change it to a fucking cheetah at this point. Like, would it really hurt? Does it really make a difference? Just saying. Cheetahs are faster.
Yeah, they are. Technically, you're right.
But no, that's all I got, man. Really glad to be back on the air with you. Glad to have you guys from OFT on. Really glad that you guys showed up in force as well in the chat. Chat has been absolutely lit. So thank you guys for the active participation and welcoming us back. So you ready to get out of here, buddy?
Yeah, do it.
All right, man.
You remember how to do this?
Yeah, I'm just going to pause now for the potential interruption that you're going to throw my way.
No, I would never interrupt you on the outro.
You shut the fuck up. You always do. 150 episodes. It's going to happen.
How do you know? Maybe I'll choose not to this time. This is another running joke. I'm sorry, Sean. This is all about me fucking with him.
It's entertaining.
Right.
Yeah, so anyway, that's all the time we have for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all very much for your participation and attendance. Thank you guys from OFT for participating in the podcast as well. As always, the affiliate links are down below on the screen beneath us. greenmountaindefense.com/affiliate-links. No additional cost to you, but helps support the podcast and all the shenanigans that Kent and I put you guys through on a regular basis. Hopefully, again, on a more regular basis moving forward. Of course, I do want to make sure that we give a shout out to our buddy Cam, who is out there fighting the good fight, kicking ass as best he can, despite the horrific accident and the injuries that he and his wife sustained. Almost 3 years ago now, coming up on it's just after 2 years. In June 18th, as a matter of fact, was 2 years. But those shirts are still on sale on Teespring. Links are down in the description. All proceeds from that shirt go to help Cam and Kelsey. So with that, that's all the time we have. Thank you all so much again. Until we see each other again, God bless you. Take care of each other. Get out and shoot.